important. Then I'm going to share my screen. Ish, 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 ish. All of a sudden, everything just becomes confusing. Okay, present. If we can do the Google Keep so that we just have the agenda there. Uh, okay, give me a second. Sorry, it's just in a different place. The meeting agenda. Yeah, I'm going in. Why isn't it opening? Oh, because two things are selected. There we go. Okay, so we're going to run through the agenda. We're going to schedule IRT, talk about the traveling squad selection, then the criteria, how it'll be done, kit and disc distribution, volunteers, scorekeeping, timekeeping, other stuff. Hannah will do that. TOC input, so Donnie, Ed, if there's anything that you want to add, anything that you want us to be aware of, that will come in there. And then there'll be an open floor. So yeah, it's been pinned on the chat. Thank you very much for that, Hannah. I can stop sharing. Everything is complicated. And we can get to it. So the schedule and the RT, actually we can share that. Send the link or Hannah will share it. Yeah, we sort of finalized the schedule now, and we're just quickly going to run through it so that you guys get a good picture of that. I believe we also shared the document. I think we shared it with the TOC. Okay, so Donnie has access to that. So yeah, we're gonna start on Friday. Um, Team managers, or at least yeah, we need to all meet so that we can distribute kits. It is coming from the Eastern region, so you guys will probably have your kits first. But for all the other regions, we'd like to meet maybe at the Eastern region, yes, at the Eastern region accommodation, and then we'll distribute kits there, and then you can give it to your, yes, that is true. Oh, sorry. Then we can give it to your team so that we could start games in the morning. We'll start in the morning on Saturday with a volunteers meeting and a captains meeting. Coaches don't really have to be there. Um, but yeah, I mean, it would help that maybe the manager and the captains are there so that both players and the coach understand what's cooking. And then we'll begin the actual IRT. So day one is going to be the interregional tournament. That is going to be a round robin where everyone plays everyone once. We have a log, and we sort it out. We'll probably be playing with diff rules for tiebreakers. I think it's matchups. We'll actually specify that with the rules, but I think if there's a tie, then it goes to if Eastern region tied with Southern region, then if Eastern region beats Southern region, then Eastern region end up above the Southern region because there aren't any draws in ultimates. There'll be a 60-minute break between the first and second game, then a 30-minute break, sorry, between the first and second game, then a lunch break for an hour to get some food, and then the last game of the tournament. And then after that, we'll have our logs, we'll have our scores, we'll have all of that. And then there'll be 2 hours for us to go to our accommodation, shower, and then we'll have a regional IQ session. And that is, yeah, that's probably going to be online. And we're going to just run through ulti footage. Marcus is going to run that just to like up our IQ for the game um, a little bit later. Sorry, for the draft that's happening a little bit later. And then after that, at 6:30, we are going to have a coaches and managers dinner where we're also going to do a draft selection. And basically, for those who aren't familiar with a draft, we're going to get all the players that are at the tournament. We're going to put them into a draft, and then you, as coaches, are going to select players like from other regions and from your own region. So yeah, that's going to be a good way just to get players to integrate with players outside of their region because we're trying to leverage connections that are already made, and we'll also want to see how people work with other people, and that's what we're going to be assessing with the draft. So we'll talk about it later, but coaches, you're going to have a tool that thank you. You're going to have a, inspired by the Cape Town Draft League. We tried doing draft in Joburg. It was very successful. So yeah, we're trying it again now in trials. Um, so basically, during the inter-regional tournaments, hand you mind just scrolling up, um, when you're playing your games against other teams, I'll get to your question now. I see your hand. You're going to mention your key players, the players that you believe belong in the squad. Like you've seen them work. You'll have your own team, and then you'll have your opposition team where you'll select like players that you believe belong in the team. There won't be a limit to either side. Um, but what we want to end up with is a clear sort of 20 or not 20, 20 per gender or a sort of number that we can work down from in conversations because it's not like we're going to give everyone doesn't really stand a chance. So we're really just trying to target the ones that do. um, we'll have a small chat about that during the draft, and then moving forward while we're doing day two, these are the people that we're actually going to be looking at, if that makes sense. Um, yes, Jay.
All right, thanks, Seppo. Two questions. The regional IQ session, is that are there going to be four separate ones for each region with the coaches and the players, or is it one entire session with all the coaches and all the players?
It'll probably be one entire session with all the coaches and all the players. So there'll be Marcus will show some footage. I'll also do like cultivate an ideology and an identity that like we sort of want to mold. And that's while we're sitting down, we can actually discuss that. So yeah, that's the vision for that. So it's not going to be four separate ones, it's going to be everyone together. But
Okay.
we may end up going into like discussion rooms for like discussions within our regional teams. Um,
All right, and
yeah,
the
to
second question is
yeah,
for
yeah.
the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, that's like for 3 hours while we're
Oh,
eating.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, why not just do like a hat where we lump all the players by skill level? That way we save time with draft, not having a draft.
Mm.
Do you know what I'm
Okay.
talking about? Like
So we
top
basically
handlers,
get like,
top.
yeah, top handlers, top cutters, and that's you draw from a hat like that. Okay. I do like
I
the
say that
idea.
also
Yeah.
because I don't like. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't know any of the players from the other regions
Mm.
that well, so it'd be hard for me to say like, like, like I want to take John Smith because like I don't even know who John Smith is, right?
Mm. Mm.
So drafting will be quite challenging for me
Mm.
personally.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, maybe that's worth considering because it would be difficult to keep track of every single player. Um, yeah, I think we will have players in hats. I think that's a good idea, and we will allow you to select randomly or you can select from that hat, but we'll know which players are in which hats because like I think the NBA draft sort of works where you have like there'll be your first round picks where everybody sort of gets a turn and that can be sort of a hat if you will, and then like second round picks. um but yeah, they will, if some coaches believe that they want specific players at specific times. I think I want to give them the opportunity to select, but if you want to just select randomly, we can also make that possible, if that makes sense. Would that work for you?
Yeah, but ultimately, Seppo, it doesn't really matter because it's not about which team wins on the weekend,
True,
right? It's about
true.
who are the top 20 players that we're going to take to Spain.
Okay,
So the whole like, who's going to win this weekend, it's like it's all there's no
that's
point to
already
it
done.
really
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. Okay.
we're basically trying to evaluate the players, and by mixing the teams, you might be giving a chance for someone who is on a weaker team to then play better with better players to give
Mm,
them a better chance for getting on the actual team. You know what I mean? So
mm.
I guess I'm getting too hung up about I want to win the weekend, but that's not the point.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I see. So it might not even be necessary to do that, but I do, as I said, like just want to give the opportunity. Maybe some people want to um like target specific players, and I sort of want to encourage that as well. Um, so that that can be a form of also assessing other players because look, yeah, it's just about identifying the key players, and I think a draft is just like a fun way to do that. Um, but yeah, we'll give you the exact details of how that runs down a little bit closer to the time. But that's what we'll spend our time doing. It probably won't go all the way until 9:30. Hopefully not. Um, but yeah, that's what we'll be spending our time doing there and getting through that as quickly as possible. Moving on to day two, how day two is going to work is we're going to warm up, then we're going to have just 2 hours of drills. And what we're trying to do with these drills is we're trying to look at specific skills in isolation. Um, and there are like a few basic skills that I think would be necessary that we can sort of drill and we've drilled before. It's keep disc for disc retention, fluffy box of death for isolation, and reset drill for handler cutting, essentially. And in those, like fluffy box of death, you can also do defense. So we can assess your downfield defense during isolations. And with the reset drill, we can also assess how you defend like handlers. And then we can sort of choose specific players with specific roles. Then we'll go on to draft games, and I'll give a little bit more details there, but it will be in a similar structure to the interregional tournament where there will be four teams, and then team one will play team two in game 1.1, and team three will play team four in game 1.2, and then team three will play team two in game 2.1, etc., etc., etc. That should end by 2:45. Give us 15 minutes to just set up the prize giving. And then that's where we'll announce the IRT winners. We'll give MVPs and give prizes for the people that did the fitness challenge. So that's basically how it's going to run down. Then by 3:30, everyone can go. And yeah, that's the weekend in a nutshell. Do we have any questions about the schedule? Okay, sweet. And you can stop sharing that. I'm going to quickly set up my Google Keep, and then we're going to go into details of the actual the weekend. So in terms of the selection specifically, so that process is still being finalized, if you will. But we have a rough idea of how that's going to go down, and we'll be able to create resources to help make that happen. Quickly going to share the screen just to run through what's cooking. So give you a moment for the IRT selection plan. We'll have selectors. Um, we'll have coaches. That's most of you guys. And then yeah, those are basically going to be the people that will be doing the selecting. So the selectors would probably be myself, Marcus, um, because we won't be like on the ground with all of the other teams. We'll be by the cameras, and we'll have a score sheet similar to what we had at trials, where there'll be specific criteria that we look for, um, and like sort of make a tick next to um, or give a score next to or under that criteria. So if like someone has very good jumps, then we'll give them like 3 for jumping. We're going to just condense that document a bit. We felt that there was just too much information coming in, and what we're going to do is we're going to sort of use roles to help define players. So we're not necessarily going to score on individual like skills necessarily. They're just going to be like comments. But what we're going to be looking at is like where they fit into the system or into the squad. So what we're going to have is like a list of defined roles and how many people we want there. Um, then look at what we have on offer and then adjust accordingly. Um, that will also, if we find selectors that aren't coaches or managers, so if we find like volunteers that have a decent amount of experience, that also want to come through, they'll also be given this task. But yeah, we've struggled to find people that would just want to come through without being part of a team already. So yeah, it's basically just the coaches and the managers that are there already. But if you want to be a selector and your team doesn't need you on the side of the field, then just contact the administration and make that clear. And if you know someone that would be keen to come through as a selector, yeah, that would also be helpful. Just to have like an outside party also giving their third person perspective. Moving on to the coaches and the managers, you guys will have a tool that will be like an MVP sheet where you will identify players. You can identify players with some comments, but we're not going to ask you to be like, how good are these guys' backhands, or is this player's backhands? Because that would take too long. So etc. etc. So that's how selection for the games is going to run for the any questions, and by the games I mean day one. So focus on playing and coaching your team, and then just identify players from your team and from the other team that you think, wow, these guys deserve to be on the team. Any questions there?
Seppo,
Yes.
um, so I'm hearing from you that we're going to be selecting for certain roles. Like, we want some main handlers, we want some like wing handlers, we want some mid cutters, we want some deep cutters, we want some people who play good defense. Right?
Mm,
We're not like going to pick the best players. We're looking for the best players that fit certain roles, right? Like, we want like three really good principal handlers, three really good deep cutters, and we're not going to take like six really good deep cutters.
yes,
Um,
yes, yes, yes.
and then what I'm also, but then the other thing I don't understand is, are we looking to take people to fit a system, or are we going to get the best players and then create the system that best works for our personnel?
So it's going to be a little bit of both, right?
Mm,
Because what could end up happening is that the northern region, for example, really like playing vert stack, right? Um, and that's their primary thing. So you'll have players that are really good at like isolations and getting deep cuts. Sorry about that. Then you could get players from the southern region that are good at like hex offense, for example. Um, so what we're looking to do is we're looking to identify skills um, and roles um, while so identifying the best players that can fit specific roles, and then when we look at what we have, then we decide, okay, what we're going to take. Because as you said, we could end up having like six fabulous like deep cutters, but we're sort of like saturated with deep cutters. So we end up choosing someone else that gives us something extra
yeah.
or something different, if that makes sense. So it's pretty fluid, um, but it's sort of identifying not just the players and their skills, but how they could contribute to the team, and then building the puzzle, um, like and getting the
All right.
final picture while that happens. Does that make
And
sense?
then, yeah, and then will there be players who we consider but are not going to IRT? And then in converse, are there players who are going to IRT who basically don't have the financial means to go to Worlds anyways? And will we know that before we make the final selection? Over. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
That is two very good questions. Thanks for bringing that up. There are players that might not make IRT that are in good contention for making the final team. Um, and we'll bring them up during the selection conversation. because what we'll have is that we'll have with the regional coaches, we'll have people that actually can tell if this player is better than this player because they've actually experienced them. So there are, I think, uh, two or three players where that situation sort of applies. Um, and the second question, what was the second question again?
Are there players who are trying who will be playing in IRT that
Yes.
have no financial means to go to
Oh,
to Spain? So then, like,
yeah. Then
if we offer them the spot, what I don't want to do is offer someone a spot and then they can't come anyways because they can't afford
yeah.
it.
So what we'll do is we'll offer them the spot, right? And say, look, the spot is yours, and you can say whether you want to continue or to drop out. Because naturally, what's going to happen with this campaign and why we want, or at least why I wanted it to not just be like one national trials and another national trials, is if someone drops out, like there's someone that was in the system that can sort of just fill in. And we have a little bit of a bigger squad to address those problems. So we'll assess the situation. We'll offer the if the players earn the spot, we'll give them the spot. If they can't afford it, we'll see what we can do. And if everything that we can do isn't enough, then we have to inform the next person that there's a spot open. So like it's not be all and end all if you don't get selected. Um, yeah, but yeah, anything can happen. People even get injured. So it's basically I see that as an injury, if that makes sense. An injury to your wallet, Hannah.
So yeah, on that though, we have a very tight deadline for our first lift of payment. So on the 15th, we aim to announce the squad. In fact, we have to announce the squad on the 15th of February. And basically, players will need to pay the first installment by the 18th, 19th of February. So there won't be a lot of time to actually make accommodations for players. Um, Possibly. It depends. It depends who they ask, what what can be done. But also on that, we're selecting what 24 initially, and for traveling squad, and then final squad will be 20. So yeah, it's not fixed, but actually all 24 players do need to pay that first installment. Anyways, we'll figure that out when we cross that bridge.
Sorry.
Sorry. Okay, cool. So, as you know, we will be using IRT to sell the Wild Dogs discs and get them to people in different regions. So I know Western region, a lot of you guys are flying, but yeah, I would really like to try and send some discs down with a list of everyone who's ordered and where they are, all their details, so that discs can be collected from a central point. So managers, if you're able to take that on, that would be fantastic. Even if it means someone else perhaps drives the discs down or whatever. Just to have everything in one place and a singular point of contact, I think will make things a lot easier. So that there aren't like four different people and then people don't know who to contact to get their disc and then they're messaging me and then I'm like, okay, your disc is supposed to be with this person and then this person's like, oh, but I don't have any discs left. So to avoid that, I'd really like to chat to managers and coaches possibly as well. Um, Make sure that it's very clear who needs discs in each region and to ensure that the deliveries happen seamlessly unless orderers have specifically requested specific people for their discs, which they are in a few cases. But that will all be detailed on printed out lists. Yeah, then as Temple mentioned earlier, the kit is coming up from the Eastern region. Daniel Mackenzie has kindly offered to bring it up. I'm not sure entirely how that's going to work, but yeah, it saved us money in terms of couriering fees. So yeah, as you saw on the schedule, we will meet, and again, um, players will get their kits, and there are also supporter kits for within each region. So again, I'd like that to be coordinated through a singular point. Make sure that everybody gets their kits that they've paid for, and yeah, to just minimize any miscommunications as much as possible. Um, yeah, I think that's everything from my side in terms of what I'm thinking about logistically. So if you have any questions or concerns with those plans, let me know. But yeah, that's great, Jay. Um, Maybe we can we can count how many discs you need to bring, so you don't have to bring all. Uh, However many they left now. What, I think about 60. So yeah, maybe you don't have to drive all of them down, just enough, and maybe a few extra because maybe people will be keen to buy at the tournament. Yeah, unless you have space. If you have space, that's cool.
Cool. And we move on to the next thing, which is also a Hannah thing. It's the volunteers, scorekeeping, timekeeping, and other stuff. So just to lead Hannah in while she finds her stuff, um, when we went to Worlds in 2023, we went as volunteers, and volunteers had like score sheets that were very good, a good way to sort of get information, and you get like different types of information. Um, Hannah will go through all of that. And what we're trying to do is just give the players like a similar type of experience, and also train volunteers. I think there's an opportunity for that because yeah, you can travel without being a player. You can like travel as a volunteer and go to the very same tournament and have the time of your life. So yeah, if you can get a little bit of that experience, get a taste of that, then maybe yeah, you can go to Spain as a volunteer. So yeah, Hannah, tell me when you're ready. She's ready.
Okay, cool. So on the left, you can, sorry, on the left you can see my hacked version of the score sheet from 2023 Worlds. So yeah, the one on the right shows what a completed score sheet will look like. And yeah, I'm busy still populating the ones for IRT, but similar principle, um, and pretty good for collecting stats as well. Um, when I did scorekeeping, we had 2 volunteers on the field, sometimes 3, but mostly 2. One would be handling the game clock, so like where all the scores are here, that at every goal and score, you documented the time, so you can see how much time passed between each point. Um, and that would only stop under very special circumstances, like say for a really bad injury or an emergency helicopter landing, but yeah, or lightning. Hopefully none of which will happen at IRT. There's also a mistake with the score sheet. They were done for mixed beach. So I've gone and rectified that on ours. So that won't be an issue. It might be a little bit complicated initially to orientate volunteers for this. It took me a few games to get my head around that, but I'm confident that um, I can coach volunteers through this and make sure that everything is going to run smoothly at the tournament. What's nice is that, and what I thought about is that we could give coaches the score sheets as well, so they could keep track if they'd like for their own purposes, but also then to help with drafting and, you know, keeping an eye on your players, but also the opposition players. You know, you get your team lists for both teams. So yeah, something else I would like to do, really like to run this tournament as close to how players would experience Worlds. So I'll share this document with you. Um, this because this is what the second stopwatch is for. Um, you know, everyone talks about time wasting, but it's a pretty difficult thing to know intuitively. So yeah, the second stopwatch basically monitors all of these things, and it's pretty clear at what time what needs to happen. And it would also be really great if players could start to get that into their systems, because something that I also saw at Worlds in 2023 is that like quite a few players actually had no idea what the whistles meant, and coaches came and asked us what the whistles were for. So I don't want South Africa to be in that position. So I want us to go in prepared and to know what's happening. So yeah, that's the plan. Um, so TOC, if it's possible, 2 volunteers per field for each game. I don't know how this will work for the draft. It would be quite something to set up, especially with the teams being selected the night before. But and also like how play like what numbers players will have, etc. So I'd really like to do this for the first day. Um, Not only is it to get players into the swing of things, but it's also something, you know, to upskill our ultimate community and, you know, maybe raise the standard of tournaments. Yeah, so that's that. Let me know if you have any questions.
Uh, out. She has a question on jerseys for day 2. Players must bring light and dark for that. Um, Yeah, we thought of doing the inter-regional kits, give them light and dark, and then you can just do that. But no, just get one kit, um, and then yeah, light and dark. Like teams like the Eastern region can just like flip their shirts. Northern region, unlucky. But yeah, it is what it is. But that's the plan for kits for the draft. Good question. Anything else, Han? Or sorry, any questions for Hannah from anyone else? Okay, still have 10 minutes. Gucci baby. Okay, cool. The next agenda item is the TOC. So that goes over to Ed, to Donnie. Um, is there anything you want to bring up? I have a question for about cameras, but I'll do that after you guys. But yeah, do you guys have anything that you want teams to know?
How's it, everybody? Tony, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe just decide if there's anything that you
Ed,
want.
I think if you can like say the points you want, and then I will just add on if you miss something.
Okay. Yeah, I think just from our side, we're trying to build long-term relationship with the school. I'll actually just like the fields are looking really good.
Amazing.
Yeah. I wonder if I can post a thing. Can I?
Yeah.
I had a photo there somewhere, but I don't know how to post it. Anyway, and yeah, I think just from our side, we want to, like they said, there's a possibility of us moving training there and stuff like that, and just building this long term. It's a girls' school as well, so I think yeah, just good for the sport and good for Bloom Ultimate. So if we can just keep everything clean and that type of thing, and just behave ourselves, then that's all good. We're gonna arrange things like gazebos and things, and there's a good chance that we'll get the field lines painted. So we've tried to organize that. It seems like it's in theory that it's going to be done. So we're just waiting for final confirmations. We had to send through all the regulations and the lines and the measurements and so on. And then, yeah, I think from a security point of view, we're getting security guards, so everybody's stuff should be well looked after, and there's parking inside the venue, so that's a good thing as well. And then, what else am I missing? We've got medics and things sorted for both days, so that's also good.
I just want to see the
And
field.
yeah, I think it's not going to be a massive tournament, but I think it's going to be something that we're looking forward to. We're going to obviously get a lot of our club people involved that aren't taking part in the tournament, just to help out with different things. Yeah, I think it's just pretty straightforward and standard.
Yeah, I think from my side, the only thing I want to add on, we got most of the Eastern region accommodation at a hostel. That's let's say approximately 5 kilometers away from the school. Yeah, so if there's any of the coaches or any of the regions that still needs accommodation for someone specific, we still have a few spaces available, but I need to give that numbers through by the end of the week. So yeah, if anyone is still interested, it's quite close to the fields, and you get like food and all the other things added on. So yeah, but that's from my side as well.
Fabulous. Thanks, guys. Pretty exciting to hear that a potential relationship can grow there. Um, Dan Rushton has a photographer that's coming. I, at 600 Rand, right, Dan, to get him here to sort out his accommodation. I think I'll pay a little bit of that, but it would be nice if we could get some help from maybe other clubs. And there's also potentially another camera person coming from Pretoria. And what he's asking Ned and Donnie is, would it be possible to get a car on the field? He has a bucky that someone could get on top of, and he just needs to know if like they can drive the car on the field to get like a nice angle from top down.
It, so the field's like one. It's like just one big field.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be a problem to from the side to get that done.
So
Um,
if you can see my hands, like if this is field one and this is field two, is the orientation like this or is it like this?
it will probably be
The
like
first
that.
one, yeah,
The first one like this. Okay, that's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, good to know. Then they can be in the middle and have a nice one. And then is there an elevated spot for the streaming as well? That's and like a plug point by the Astro. Is that there?
There, that's something that we'll look at and see that when they ask us about the field orientation, that we look at that. There is an elevated spot, but when we were there, I wasn't looking specifically.
There must be something because it's close to the tuck shop that we will maybe have access to, but we will find out for you.
Okay.
So
Okay, that's all from me. Yeah, sweet. Wait, did you say that a car could be on the fields? Would they mind that? It's not like gonna do drifting. But would it be possible?
yeah, I think I'll make sure, but I think it will be possible.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Dan Rushton.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for organizing, Danny and Ed. That's a lot of work. I do appreciate it a lot. So just want to say that first of all, having some amazing fields will be an up for the guys and girls. That was a genderless guys. And then I had a question about the water. Sorry, I just realized now. I was thinking now, what questions would I have for going to Bloom? When I was in Bloom, we couldn't drink the tap water. I don't know what the situation is now, and if that is the case, how should we sort of organize around that?
Yeah, it's still sort of the case. We are organizing big like 25-liter cans, enough for everybody each day. So water should be sorted. We'll have like water points and in the shade and stuff like that. So something we have on our to-do list.
Cool. I think maybe we should just mention that to the players, so they can also bring big enough bottles, because I know that's something you need to would recommend beers in between games.
Yeah.
After games.
There is a
After
brewery actually close by, but we're not going to tell that to players.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And do you think?
I just wanted to ask, so are the TSC putting together like an info pack that we'll be able to send out to everybody? Obviously, we still need to put the schedule together, but that can easily be integrated.
Yeah. So basically, we were waiting for the schedule and stuff, but yeah, we are planning on putting an info pack together for everybody.
Wrap up. Has to be quick. We have okay, we have 2 minutes left, so maybe we could take one more question.
We're
All
looking
right.
forward to receiving everybody.
Yo, we're looking forward to this, man. This is, yeah, guys. We'll be making history here if we do get this right, the first inter-regional tournament, and that's going to align to other traditional sport structures, and hopefully we can get this extended to like an under-20 campaign or like to a senior campaign where regional teams play. Because me, I could have made a regional team. That would have been nice, you know. So, yeah, thank you very much for all the efforts. This is going to be pretty cool. A Masters campaign, yes, that would be cool. But yeah, thank you. thanks for your time, and we'll give you more details close to the time. Good luck to all your teams. Thank you very much, TOC, and let's Frisbee. Sick.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Cheers,
Sweet.
everybody.
Thank you. Cheers.
Somehow we get through.